Here on the upper right-hand corner of Antiga Shipyard, we have our red Terran player from the team FXO. It is kumiho. And his opponent down in the bottom left-hand corner, sporting the blue trunks. Another Terran player. Of course, we have 12 of them in this tournament. It's coL.NaDa.
Right. A dozen Terrans.
Well, we've already had one eliminated, and unfortunately, one... Oh, no, we've actually had two now, because, of course, we did start with the TVT today as well as Puma is out. So 2 Terrans and a Protoss have been eliminated out of the tournament so far.
Yep. And it'll be interesting to see how long the non-Terrans survive, you know? I mean, this is looking like coDES a couple seasons ago. Our tournament.
It's, obviously another Terran's going to go down here.
Yeah.
So we're going to have... We started with 25% non-Terran. And 25% of the people who are eliminated are going to be non-Terran, so we still have exactly the same distribution.
Oh, math.
Zerg is slightly higher representative now because there's one representative of after this set, 12 available players versus the 1 out of 16. So Zerg is getting stronger.
There you go. Whatever you say, man. You just say something about math and I'll just believe you. I'm not, can't really do it.
You can't really do it.
Can't do math, sorry.
Oh, I apologize.
Yep. Hey. Gas first for kumiho.
Yep.
Can tell you all about that. Could be a pathway, a yellow brick road, if you will, straight to Banshees. At the very least, it's going to be a quick path to a quick factory, and you can go, you know, a number of directions from there.
Well, if you'll remember, back at the last TVT that kumiho played on was against Apocalypse. It was game number 3 of the set, and he opened up with the same thing, went gas first. And unfortunately, Apocalypse was going 3 Reapers with Reaper speed into double port Banshee, into Bio.
That was the weirdest thing.
And kumiho was so confused, he ended up making 1 billion Vikings and 1 Thor. So I doubt we're going to see a repeat of that game now.
Probably not. That was a bit odd, but very cool. If you guys get a chance, definitely go to the IGNProLeague channel on YouTube and watch that series between kumiho and Apocalypse, Quantic Apocalypse. It was a really, really unique, really interesting TVT series.
Yeah. And kumiho is putting up that factory right now, and this SCV is going to get through and see pretty much everything.
Someone's armed and ready.
Yes, he is.
Armed and ready.
Let's see. That, yeah, armed
and
ready right there.
Yeah. He is armed and ready.
Boom. All right. Let's see now as NaDa has that SCV pretty far forward, and kumiho just making his 2nd Marine now, but his opponent has seen pretty much everything.
Yeah. Yep. And so, looks like it's going to be a probable Reaper expand from NaDa. However, NaDa has used, and as you can see, it's not rallied out across the map or anything like that yet. NaDa has used different multiple Reaper builds from time to time here. So, it looks like this time it is going to be a Reaper expand, though, with that command center going down. But NaDa does certainly love his Reapers in TVT especially. So, be interesting to see if he decides to make a 2nd one or if he's just going to do one for scouting purposes. You can see kumiho already has a couple of Marines in position at his base down a little bit to the left there. Yep.
Yes, he does.
There they are. They're ready. Yeah, and it is just going to be 1 Reaper from NaDa as well.
All right. Well, Marine fired on his...
That Marine just shoot the...
Yes, it did.
He did.
39 hit points.
It's like tag.
Has taken... That is an extreme form of tag.
I know, yeah.
Fully automatic weapon.
Reminds me of when I'd be playing Halo with my friends online and I would say high five and come up and melee attack them.
Oh, you were that guy.
I was.
I played with that guy quite a bit.
I would only do it from the front most of the time.
Most of the time.
Most of
Wouldn't
the time.
insta-kill them too much.
Oh, yeah, of course.
All right.
I have standards.
kumiho's making another Marine Hellion Banshee play. We'll see if he actually wants to move out with a bunch of SCVs this time like he did last go-around. Reaper's made its way up to the front.
SCV. Look out.
He was not going to be driven off that. Think he had enough time to... Oh, well, he already knows of the Hellion up at the front, so we'll see if he prepares for a similar push that we saw last game. Oh, but kumiho is actually expanding right now.
Yep, exactly. So it's going to be a little bit longer of a game than we saw in match 1, it looks like, or in game 1 of 2nd match, that is.
Yeah.
A little bit more scouting going on with this Hellion here. kumiho, you know, he could try to poke up and do a little bit more damage to the Marines, but I think more interestingly, or what he's more interested in right now anyway, is seeing when NaDa decides to take his expansion. Although he may try to pressure a little bit from the front when this Banshee comes in.
Let's see now, of course, as he did catch barracks that was actually being constructed, but already NaDa pulling his forces back, knows exactly when a Banshee is supposed to show up.
He's good.
What a smart player.
I think we're going to see a little bit better Banshee control out of Puma, or not Puma, out of kumiho this time around too. Very nice, using that vision to go after that tech lab, and that is stim. If he gets stim,
Yeah.
That'd be a big deal, but it doesn't look like kumiho's going to let him, or NaDa will, rather.
Yeah, but NaDa may lose a few forces here up the front, trying to protect this, of course. Nice control from kumiho, as we mentioned, is a little bit better this go-around.
Wow.
These Hellions have actually hurt quite a few of the Marines. Oh, but now the Marines are in pretty good force, and that's just too much to stop the repairing.
Yep, a lot of those Marines softened up, and they stimmed, too. That Banshee, once that stim wears off, could get a lot of kills against those Marine forces of NaDa, but look at that, NaDa making 5 Marines at once, so the Banshee is going to need to pull back a little bit, and kumiho taking a very fast third base as well.
Yes, he is.
Interesting.
2 more Hellions going to roll back through here in a second. As you mentioned, those Marines are very, very low, but it's going to require ridiculous control. And the Marines are actually enough to start picking off those Hellions in mass like that. He's trying to coax another stim, but those units are already a little bit too low. Look at this. kumiho actually moving over to 3 Blue Flame Hellions at a time.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be probably going mech this game, although he hasn't added that 3rd factory on quite yet. Probably going to see that soon, but yeah, those Hellions are going to start to do a lot of damage to those Marines. Oops, losing a Banshee there, but you know, if NaDa isn't careful here, if he doesn't get some medevacs out soon, he's going to lose a lot of Marines.
Yes, he is. Those Blue Flame Hellions are going to tear through those units up at the front, so just my grasp of the English language is... leaves me right there, unfortunately. I'm sorry. Happens occasionally.
There's some pressure there from the Hellions.
Yeah.
And Blue Flame getting ever closer to completing. There's also a medevac on the way, too. So, NaDa could be having to deal with some Blue Flame Hellion drops in his main as well. kumiho could pretty easily swing by, and it's almost like NaDa heard me there. He's like starting to move his Marines back, and he's like, oh, wait.
Is that what you said, Doe? Like, there could be some drops coming soon?
He knows.
Oh.
He knows. Actually, NaDa is just that smart. He just knows the possibility. He knows he doesn't need that many units at the ramp anymore. He's safe. So why not put a few back in your main just to make sure that you're prepared for drops?
He doesn't have a clue what his opponent is doing, though. And let's see here. So kumiho is going to drop. And Blue Flame actually was restarted.
Ooh, he
so
accidentally canceled it?
I guess so. It's so... Yeah, I mean, it's so far away from being done. Kind of an interesting point of reference. I actually want to note here, though. I just took NaDa's vision. I went back up to these bases he doesn't know about, and it showed a mule dying. So... is that... can you actually see that in-game? Can you actually see mules die without having vision? Because that's actually a pretty big tip-off.
I don't know.
Because, I mean, now he doesn't have to scout. He can know how many bases, so that's bizarre. But anyway, just a point of interest. All right.
A little bit of Hellion damage on the middle line, but it's going to need to be picked up pretty quick here. Or just allowed to die, one of the two.
That's kind of what happened. And the medevac!
Oh, the medevac. That's close.
Yes.
All right. Well, a couple SCVs getting singed, but not a lot else going on here. And kumiho's economy, though, is going to be looking pretty good soon here. He's going to be able to move into a very strong mech mid-game. And this is a pretty good map for it, too. Okay, you know, NaDa hasn't been able to put any pressure on his opponent at all.
Let's see, we're going to watch. Okay, no. The mule went down there, but it was not inside of the fog of war. So, all right. I'm sorry. I'm going to test this theory here in a bit. At the same time,
he could have just caught the tail end of a scan, too.
Yeah, well, he didn't see the command center, then. So.
Well, I have no idea then.
All right. Whoa! Blue Flame Hellions ripped through the front line of forces. That's a barbecue.
Wow.
And the Marauders, as cool as they are against Hellions, will die as well. Now there's tanks being added in, of course.
Oh. Killed a Hellion there?
Yeah, he did, actually.
Oh, all right. Well, that one, culling the weak.
Yes. Fired on his own Marine before, now firing on his own Hellion.
That's right. kumiho is like one of those crazy villains in a movie. He's like Darth Vader, man. You never know when he's going to like choke the captain or something like that.
World War II Soviet lieutenant there was like, you will not turn around. You take this pistol and you run it.
I guess so.
All right. Let's see here. There's 5 factories now continually producing a bunch of units. Of course, kumiho has been producing off of 3 bases for such a long time, and NaDa just still has no clue.
You know, how many lieutenants and captains did Vader go through in Empire? There's quite a few.
Oh, God.
Let's see. Let's count. Wow. Let's count. It was Admiral Ozzel first. Yeah. Then NaDa got taken out. And I feel like there was one more. Now, Admiral Veers, he lived through Empire, I believe.
Yes.
Just because he took out the power generators on Hoth, so he did pretty well, you know?
So I assume that Vader would have been happy with his with his position
he did
at that
pretty
point.
Good.
So,
yes. But I feel like I'm missing one. Tweet at GoSuDoa, let me know who else Vader offed.
Took heavy losses on Hoth, though, you know? I mean, who knows? Maybe
no, they won.
Yeah. Oh, no, they won. He still took heavy losses, is what I'm saying. Should not have let ToC Havens kill AT-ATs. I'm just saying.
Well,
I mean, you should have had contingency plans. I'm just throwing it out there.
Can't be prepared for something like that. Those rebels are so scrappy, man.
All right. Maybe you shouldn't have such an inherent design flaw in your attack vehicles, but I'm just speculating
Giant
now.
attack vehicles that could trip, yeah.
Yes.
That might be something to consider.
Yes. Can our vehicles fall over? If yes, don't build them.
Yeah.
All right.
That'd help.
Okay, there
Got
is...
this great idea. It's a huge military vehicle. Oh, that sounds awesome. Yeah,
Yes.
it has these huge lasers. It can carry a bunch of troops, and it's on giant legs.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Well, I guess if it's 4, it's
Okay.
kind of stable, but what's backing them up? Even better, smaller, more maneuverable ones with just 2 legs.
With just
yeah,
two
a little
legs.
top heavy, but don't worry about it.
It's like, all right, what environment are you going to take these walking war machines to? An ice planet.
Ooh, and
That's
then
brilliant.
And then a jungle where they have to go in between lots of trees, and they're easy to attack.
Yeah. And that's why the rebels never hung out on a desert, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, very
easy.
true.
Rebels are smart, man.
Why didn't we see any AT-ATs or AT-STs on Tatooine? That's
Exactly. Exactly.
just saying. All right. Well, Marine poking away at this barracks now. It's forced to float back. It's kind of depressed, just slumping
Sounds
back
like
slowly but surely.
This big Star Wars revelation here. I'm sorry. I'm like taking this all in. I'm like, wow.
Boba Fett wouldn't have been so cool on Tatooine for a long period of time if the rebels could have wrested control of AT-AT and just killed him.
I don't think Boba Fett was ever really that cool. I'm one of those people. I'm not on the Boba bandwagon.
Gotcha.
Yep.
I mean, going down the Starlight Pit's not really a way to go, so.
No. Nice little defensive position here from NaDa.
Yes.
Trying to contain his opponent a little bit. GuMiho, though, is maxed out. He's about 30 supply ahead here. And all he needs is for NaDa to just go ahead and try to make a push. He's going to be in a pretty good position here. GuMiho's getting +2 weapons. He's also getting cloak for his Banshees, too. That's going to help quite a bit. He's going to be able to push back a lot of NaDa's forces. If he can eliminate some of the Marauders, that'll be quite good.
And we were talking about defensive positions as well. I mean, GuMiho with a nice little maneuver there.
Yeah, man.
Pokes away a little bit at the medevac and draws some units back into the fire of the siege tank range. So, unit compositions, we're sitting at 6 Vikings, 2 Banshees, 15 tanks, 27 Hellions, and a Thor up for GuMiho. NaDa sitting on a ton of bioforces.
Did I say defensive position for NaDa?
Yes. Or no, I mean like a good. No, I don't think you said that. Yeah, yeah.
Here comes the fight. Hellions coming in, roasting some siege tanks.
Very nice.
Yeah. GuMiho just not, or NaDa rather, just not having enough to hold that. Has to pull back here. And now that GuMiho's almost maxed out, he is maxed out now, he can start to kind of pressure out on the map, make sure that NaDa never takes his fourth. And I think we're going to see GuMiho try to take that middle base here too pretty soon.
All right.
Oh,
and NaDa's trying to push his way up right now. Good job having all of the Hellions in the front there to absorb the Hellion damage there, but there's just too many tanks sitting back for GuMiho.
Well, GuMiho is putting on a clinic right now of how to push with the mech. You really need to keep all those Hellions alive. You saw what a great job they did buffering for those siege tanks in the back, and I love the addition for Banshees too. It's going to be so hard for NaDa to engage his army. In fact, he knows it. NaDa just going for a counterattack here, it looks like.
That is very brave, as GuMiho is going to be able to engage first. We'll see if he just tries to move back down and surround these forces. He is coming back with his bio, as GuMiho has such a strong position up at the front.
Yes, he does, and that's a nice siege tank line for GuMiho, but is it going to be strong enough to take out these units from NaDa?
Well, we'll find out. As NaDa just crushing through the front line of tanks here. He has now equalized the supply, and he picks off the Banshees with that scan. Very nice attack from NaDa.
The upgrades were really, really helpful in that case. He was able to power through so many tanks, and we saw, too, GuMiho did not have that Hellion buffer like he had last time, so there was nothing protecting those siege tanks from the Marauders and the Marines of NaDa.
Wow, and NaDa's just going to go, not even healing up his units, just wants to make sure he can get in before another defensive position is put up for GuMiho at the moment.
Yep, GuMiho trying to take the fourth base right now. He wasn't able to take the one in the middle like he probably wanted to.
Oh,
and
here comes
a big drop for NaDa. This might work out pretty well. In fact, I think it will.
Yeah.
Yes.
Looks like he's just going to go directly on top of the unit, so he drops in the middle of the tanks, cleans up the tanks on the right-hand side very quickly. There's some still on the left-hand side that are attacking, but now they're out of range. GuMiho, though, is able to push back on the back of these now 4 actually cloaked Banshees very effectively.
These cloaked Banshees are just doing so well for GuMiho. We're going to have to see how NaDa responds. making a lot of Marines right now, but keep in mind the Marines are going to be vulnerable to the siege tanks as well. Some of the medevacs for NaDa getting picked off as well.
Yeah, those are not long for this world. They're going to try and make their way back, but starting to get picked away. NaDa not actually sieged up here at the front. Oh, a couple of Hellions getting a little far forward of the rest of the units, and they're actually dispatched of pretty quickly.
Yeah, so here we go. A lot of SCVs being pulled by GuMiho. Trying to just use those to keep his units repaired. He's gonna, wow, look at that, putting up a really huge defensive turret ring. Pretty big, fat defensive position out on the map there.
That's really cool positioning. This is a fun brand of play from GuMiho that he's played, especially with that such quick third command center. This uncloaked Banshee into, 3 base build was so much fun.
Well, GuMiho really has always enjoyed his mech TVT. He's always had kind of a good balance between bio and mech, but it seems like lately he has been kind of leaning more towards just straight up mech TVT for most of his games. Looks like he will lose this barracks here, but he can always remake another one, or NaDa can just turn around one of the two.
It's very true.
GuMiho still has a really nice supply lead, and now NaDa is really starting to hurt here. I mean, he does not have a 4th base. He's really starting to run out of resources. His natural basically mined out. His 3rd base still looking strong, but again, you know, that's only 1 base now that's really mining for NaDa. So pretty soon he's going to be starving for resources.
GuMiho taking a 5th as well, so this could spell disaster for him. A ton of SCVs have already gone over to the top left-hand corner, and it looks like NaDa's starting to move that way now as he wants to take a base on the left-hand side, which he will do. But this will likely be picked up on as, oh, he's within the sensor tower range, so GuMiho should know. NaDa actually dropping down with some units at the back of the planetary fortress, though.
Yep. Drop not doing a whole lot of damage, and NaDa's forces, if he's not careful, could get a little bit caught up at this part of the map. He might be able to take out this 4th base, but GuMiho, oh, he's moving his army of Vikings and Banshees pretty close there.
Yeah, that is a staggering amount of air forces, and he's adding in 2 Ravens to that as well, so kind of going into Sky Terran at the same time. Kind of a cool brand of play, a good way to follow this up. And GuMiho, he's sieging up his own base here as NaDa looks like he wants to attack. Oh, kills almost all the Hellions up at the front, though.
A little bit of a mistake for GuMiho, maybe thinking he was the only one with vision when he was, of course, not. A big scan from NaDa.
Yeah.
And those core Banshees have to fall back a little bit. There is a planetary there.
Yeah, high-sec auto-tracking actually finishing, so now it has 7 range as well. It's going to help, but it's just going to die in 2 seconds. Wow. That's what's going to happen. However, a base for a base is not favor NaDa at the moment, though, because GuMiho already has another one prepared in the middle of the map.
Yeah, that's right. NaDa's base dying right there, and GuMiho with that Sky Terran build or Sky Terran composition at this point in the game is going to be able to engage NaDa's force and do it pretty well, too. I mean, if he's careful, he can micro pretty decently against that.
GuMiho has basically no resources left, so he's going to be down to 1 mining base here as well.
We'll see if he can keep that alive.
Now, GuMiho going Sky Terran is also very fragile. These units don't have a ton of HP or a ton of front line power, so NaDa maybe he can find his way back with that, but
NaDa looks like he's setting up for a pretty big flank here, but GuMiho might not let him get perfectly in position here. We'll have to see.
Crazy position here in the middle of the map. Yeah, pretty well executed by GuMiho.
Not a lot of tanks on this high ground for GuMiho either, so I feel like NaDa could break this if he comes in, and we're going to find out because he's going to try it right now.
Yeah, GuMiho
going down. Oh, the scan.
Yeah, the scan catching so many of the Banshees already. The Vikings are picking off everything in the air, but they're going to need to land here in just a second as most of the tanks have already fallen. A couple of point defense drones go down to absorb some of the fire from the Marauders, but NaDa actually making some inroads here, and he may be able to break in against this. Oh, that's not a planetary. It's an orbital command, so it lifts off and moves away.
Yep, that's right. NaDa forcing GuMiho back from his really only his mining base, his only mining base right now. NaDa has a nice supply lead at this point. It's getting to that point where it's really difficult for GuMiho to remax and kind of rebuild that big, powerful mech army. And it looks like that's what he's trying to do, kind of staying away from the Banshee play for now. It's just too easy for NaDa to engage and kill that with those Marines.
Uh-oh, a couple of Blue Flame Hellions could take out a lot of SCVs, but NaDa sees that, moves away right away. That could have been disaster for NaDa.
Yes, indeed. And NaDa taking a bit of damage from those siege tanks here.
They gather about 7 kills between them. Of course, GuMiho was sitting on way too many minerals, so he is just putting out nothing but Blue Flame Hellions now. A couple of Banshees being added in. Finally getting +1 weapons for arrows. Surprised it took him that long to get to that conclusion.
Well, NaDa doing everything he can to defend this base. He's going to need to play it pretty carefully here because GuMiho could potentially box him in once he gets a few more units. NaDa still, though, the much more mobile player in this matchup.
Yeah, let's see. Oh, drop gets cleaned up, or some units get cleaned up on the right-hand side of the map, and kumiho now mining off of that 4th base. We'll see if he floats over one of his orbital commands, tries to do something. He's actually thinking about poking his way in. NaDa, though, with just a handful of tanks in this game, has done a pretty good job of knocking out the front line of Hellions.
Yep, and oh, maybe not the best move out by kumiho right there.
No.
Taking some fire from that siege tank, and yeah, if he could pick up some of the medevacs, that would actually be really, really helpful.
Very much so.
Yep. And make that bio army much less durable, and kumiho's going to pull back a little bit, looks like.
NaDa setting up for what might be a big flank, though. He's got some units out. He's really got to watch and make sure that those don't get trapped. kumiho rolling forward. He's just going to start picking away at the bio units of NaDa now with this.
All right, so kumiho, needs to be very careful here. He's losing a lot of Hellions. Here come the siege tanks.
But he allows those tanks to siege up.
Yeah, NaDa, though, he's making the right call. He's going for that middle base of kumiho, and there's nothing there to stop him from taking it out.
Not at all. kumiho actually moving back with a couple of units that he had sitting around the middle of the map, but he is just all out moving into his opponent's base.
Yeah.
NaDa's production starting to be camped.
Yeah, and this is all this is pretty much a base trade at this point. Neither player really has much mining going on. NaDa has his 4th base, but it's not quite saturated. He's not getting gas from it. Might not matter. He's doing so much to kumiho. So much damage to him.
All right, well, kumiho does have a good number of tanks on the high ground, so he'll be able to delay if nothing else. And he's killing so many SCVs with these units here. Let's actually see pretty even between these two players the entire game. kumiho retaking that advantage, though, as he slaughters these SCVs over on the right-hand side of the map.
NaDa actually turned around with his bioforces, and that's a good idea, because the thing is that kumiho doesn't have any sort of income at all, and mech is a very expensive army to keep up, and with those units in the main and the units coming back in the middle of the map, NaDa should be able to clean up kumiho's army and potentially win this game right now.
Oh, we'll find out, as kumiho, he is adding on a few units, a small modicum of them, if you will, but we'll see if you can break this position. NaDa setting up. There was a Blue Flame Hellion sitting at the back of this middle line here, picked off a couple additional SCVs, but not making that big of a difference. NaDa with a pretty good defensive position there.
Yep. Sees, or NaDa rather, sees it, and here he comes from the top and the bottom. Nice little split at the very end and deflects siege tank damage.
Oh, a lot of point defense drones go down, so those Marauders were neutralized for a long time, and I think that's about the best that kumiho can hope for. He is going to get that force cleaned up, but he surprisingly kills so much stuff from NaDa. NaDa doesn't really have anything anymore.
Yeah, kumiho actually still with a supply lead in a pretty big way, too. You know, NaDa is still mining off of 2 bases. kumiho has his top going there. Yeah. Mining that with a lot of mules here. Where is he getting gas from, though? Not really anywhere.
And he actually busted the siege tank line that was over at this 4th base. Okay. Very nice job out of kumiho.
Missing an opportunity. There we go. Okay, now moving in.
Yeah.
With those Hellions, only 1 Marauder there, but it looks like it's going to be enough. Or not. Wow. Actually, kumiho, yeah, if he micros these Hellions well, he could do a lot of damage to some of the last mining SCVs from NaDa. Oh, he lines them up.
Oh, it looks like he will do a considerable amount of damage. Some units swinging around from the top as well. They're actually Banshees. All of this is going to get cleaned up. NaDa down to just 17, now 16 workers.
Wow, it really seemed like NaDa was going to be able to get the lead in this game here, but kumiho has just played so solid and so patiently all game long here, taking, just the right risks at just the right time, and it may just be enough to take out NaDa. Looks like NaDa might be starting to think about making one final push of it here. It's going to be tough. Oh, I like this, though. He's going to drop right on the army of kumiho. It's his last chance. We'll see if he can do it.
Well, are the Vikings back in time?
Oh, no.
They are!
Oh, no.
Oh, man. He's going to pick off 1 medevac full of units. Oh, no. Almost gets a second as well.
Well, it's lucky that kumiho didn't check the life on those medevacs there. Otherwise, he could have taken out 2 of them easily.
All right. Well, patrolling Hellions back and forth, making sure these bases don't get any sort of, any mining done. And now it's going to be forced to lift that one eventually as well. He'll lose all the workers at it, certainly. NaDa producing a couple additional Vikings, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Pushes out right away, and boom! Takes a huge hit from the siege tanks there, and I don't know if he can take many more of those.
Well, yeah. kumiho's about 80 supply ahead right now. And at this point, just going to kind of roll to victory here.
Yeah.
And it looks like we are probably going to see FXO.GuMiho tie things up here on Antiga Shipyard.
Pretty long game there, though. 35 minutes already.
Exciting game.
Very much so. Very back and forth, and NaDa just really doesn't have much of a leg to stand on anymore. He's going to completely pick up and move over to the top left-hand corner, trying his best to get anything done, but it's already picked up on by GuMiho. Let's see how he reacts, moving out with the vast majority of his air forces.
Yeah, you know, NaDa and also Slayer's Boxer, two of the oldest Terrans in StarCraft 2, they both share a similarity in that they don't like to give up until they know for a fact it is 100% over. We'd see a lot of players GG by now, but NaDa not giving up just yet, gonna try to make a go of it.
Okay, he's going to pick off the orbital command sitting here in the middle of the map. Yeah. We'll get that done at least, but of course he's losing everything pretty much back at home. 190 supply to 55 now. GuMiho just going to make sure he has the last amount of mining denied, and he'll eventually be able to crush his opponent's position. Command center's going down. Just 2 of those remaining now for NaDa.
Yeah, action just all over the map right now. Here's that Hellion. Is he going to get the mule?
Oh,
no, he's not.
Sad-faced.
All right. Oh, well. So, GuMiho, 140 about supply ahead right now, sending out even more forces here. Where is he getting his minerals from? Just that base, and it is now going to die, it looks like. But he's going to be able to more or less trap NaDa's army and also at the same time deny the mining from NaDa's last base that had any sort of economy going for it. I think, no, NaDa can't even drop in the third, too. There's all those missile turrets there.
God, that's way too many. I thought he was maybe
exactly
going to think
what you
about
got to do,
well.
man.
Yep.
Got to have that amount.
Oh, Banshee's trying to sneak their way up, but that's actually going to force scans out of NaDa. He really doesn't have right now, or can't afford to use. So even though the Banshees go down, they do their damage, they waste the scans. NaDa going to try and pick up and move out of there, but this is already picked up on by GuMiho. Will he be able to react in time? Looks like he will. He is going to trap those forces once again.
Well, he's got enough Hellions there to handle that army by itself. These tanks are just kind of icing on the cake. And that is a deadly icing for Complexity NaDa. GG, and GuMiho takes game 2.